All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. So, what you should do is if you have everyday credit, like my credit's not terrible, but I've let a balance go at 0%, but it's not. I'm within striking distance. All I got to do is stop spending money, and then it goes away. But this time of year, I usually carry a balance. I figure it's holiday. I'll get money back on tax refund, and I'll get money back. Maybe open it in some credit card or something else. So, but when I looked at my credit standing compared to the rest of the nation, I'm up higher than I normally am. So go look to see if you're up higher than you normally are. I mean, even if you're carrying a little bit of balance, you're probably up higher than you normally would be. They're also tightening requirements for credit cards if you have a lot of uh, requests for cards, because the profile of the person is what I'm telling you. They just kept refinancing their credit, and over time, it sends an emergency warning to the creditors that people that have uh, opened many accounts are starting to have trouble. Right. So what you want to do is you look, and you'll see some signs of what's going on. So they kept refinancing their credit cards, and they need to get into a debt consolidation loan and close those accounts. That's what needs to happen, or we're going to have bankruptcies. So you have to develop a special loan that gives them the opportunity to finally close it all out and go. You have to force them to close it out. Well, because what's happening is they're getting offers for 0% credit, which means the credit card companies are being responsible and saying, "Well, we got a lot of credit out there; it's coming due. Let's give them some 0%." They pay a little bit of fee, and they put their balance into something else. But what they may have done is started charging up the other card. I don't know. So what's happening is everybody has terrible credit, and that's a sign. Like, carrying the balance is not a problem because you can just keep refinancing things, and if you keep it in check, it's just a small balance that within 6 months you could pay off if we had hit an emergency spot. But a lot of people didn't have that luxury or whatever it was, and they have high balances, and their credit's horrible. So what that's going to do is that's going to require bankruptcy to get out of if we don't do something, because they can't get credit. So it's probably already starting. And again, when they don't make payments, and banks have trouble, and when banks have trouble, also the retailers have trouble. Even maybe like a retail credit card that they ran up, and they're not, which is generally a bank, not a retailer anyway. But it's just a lot of, I don't know what their agreements are between the retailer and the credit card when there's a default. I don't know if the retailer has to cover some of it or not. But what you want to do is, like I said, you want a hybrid loan. I've brought this up before they bailed out the banks. I said to create hybrid loans where it's like a pre-bankruptcy. I even went. It was more technical back then. I said they have to fill out the paper, like they go through a trustee, and the trustee gives them. I don't think we have to go that far right now if we do it right, where the trustee actually gives them the loan. Does the workup for the loan, and if they default on that loan, then they're forced into bankruptcy. But I don't think we're there. I think what we want to do is we want to provide a debt consolidation loan, but that debt consolidation loan carries a designation where it's known that they had to take the special loan to get out of where they were. So they're not going to get any credit till they pay off that loan. Right. So there's a lot of things that happen when that happens. Maybe the family says, "Hey, we'll help you," or they get a windfall and they can pay it off early. So there's a lot of, it kind of keeps it open where they don't have to destroy their credit for a certain number of years. They don't have to default on their accounts. And the key is that they have income. So I think that's where we are. A lot of people still have income, and that's part of the reason why they can't afford anything. And they ran up the credit cards. And again, it's like an illusion that Trump and his people created. They won, and all's fair in love and war. So, but if you want to deliver something. You cap the credit card interest rates, and everybody's going to get mad because you're going to screw up. It's just like it's worse than it actually is, and it's probably a curse. It's worse than that student loan thing that you fought against because you're going to destroy all the people with good credit, their life of benefits of good credit, because the banks have to cut everywhere just to cover that low interest rate. And a lot of those accounts will default anyway. So you might as well cut to the chase. You have to meet with the banks, and you have to come up with a special loan category. Right? I don't know how far the government wants to guarantee that. Right. But you need to work out something with them, and the key is to keep the interest rate, something decent. So again, you're going to still cap the interest rate, but what you're going to do is you're going to close all those credit cards. You're going to transfer that balance, and then you have to calculate. You got to make sure the person can make the payments, and everything else. But there's people out there with probably even better income than me that just have maxed out world, and they need to recover from it. Some people will have to go into bankruptcy, but if we can minimize. Well, essentially, what happened is when the 0% thing, it just kept floating the balances at 0%, and then maybe they ran up some other credit cards or something. So again, that's where it probably is. And I think I'm not sure how that paid in. There was probably judgments from not paying their rent during COVID. There's a lot of different things going on. Well, if we get all those bankruptcies, then you might have to bail out the bank, and then we have people that'll never, take a really long time to recover. It just probably make a mess. So the best bet is to provide a special loan, for people that would most likely not default. Right. Again, if they default from that, there's no way up. And it's going to happen. And maybe we're going to just spread out that bankruptcy over a longer period of time. Right. But what we're going to do is we're going to force the closure of the credit card accounts, and that's what's going to rescue them, instead of just keep running up debt on cards that they have. Because they're screaming at you and they're saying, "Well, do something," but they're probably still charging up credit cards. So again, it's the idea of increased discretionary spending from COVID. That's what people did. They sat around and they spent. They didn't go anywhere. They sit at home and they spent money online and stuff like that. They're probably still doing that. So again, it's just insult to injury with what's going on. Well, the key is that the person has a work history or an income history. Again, some people just have maybe investment income or whatever it is. And over time, they obviously will most likely keep that or have another job. And again, some of those people, you give them a little time, there'll be a windfall, but they can't go and spend the windfall and then keep charging. That won't happen under that system. So every time they get a windfall, they can pay off the loan. They get forward of it. Or finally, they can say, Mom, come on, let me, $10,000. I have no credit. Like once you do bankruptcy, it's done. You can't get back out of it. So people that don't have credit for a certain number of years, they may not realize what the outcome's going to be, and they can't go back. But if you give them a loan and they realize they have a black mark, they might want to get rid of the black mark. And then, they may find a brother or a mother, or might say, hey, I'm going to drive an Uber. I want credit. They'll get a second job and drive an Uber and get themselves out of it. Otherwise, from what I see, it has to indicate massive bankruptcies on the horizon. And this isn't one of those fake posts. You always read about that, especially when the political people do that. Like some of the operators, they put in your ad feed, they'll say, oh, or your news feed, so-and-so says, 10 million bankruptcies on the horizon, just so they can, try to put their person in. They did it to Biden, the fake economic news. That's the only thing Biden wasn't able to clean up, and it's still out there. Well, I didn't see you're killing me the whole time. I told you to do it. I think I did say once you're gonna have to do something with the credit. No, I actually told you the credit was okay. The credit was okay because the having the debt out there alone is not bad. I see it's a little loud for some reason. having the amount of debt out there when you have that's what it was. When I looked at it the last time, everybody's credit score was well enough. Right? Now the debt's out there with looks like low credit scores. I believe everybody else has much lower credit scores than I do, and mine's probably just a little bit below where probably like 30 points below where I usually keep it. And again, if I paid off these things real quick, and it would all go back up again. So again, I know that's the issue. So you have debt out there, credit card debt, and you have bad credit. Everybody has bad credit, which means they're starting to default, or they're going to default because they're not paying down the balances. Right. So what you want to do there is get them into debt consolidation loans, which some people can do on their own. So what the banks are doing that, and they're trying to get them into debt consolidation loans, but they're not required to close the accounts. And on top of that, there's like this next level of people that are maxed out, have bad credit, but they have income, and they have, projected income where it doesn't look like it's just, I'm going to work for a month and it will be gone. Right. So what we're trying to do is minimize the impact of bankruptcies, because there's going to be some, and that might actually help some of these retailers. We got to get the interest rates down, and it's just that's going to be a sticking point. And if you do the tariffs, I don't see us getting the interest rates down. We need them down. So we need to save these people. They're the people that you're going to cap I didn't see that during the election. Apparently, there's something about capping the credit card rates. And that's not going to work for them. It'll probably get them in trouble. It'll piss everybody off because the banks are going to minimize, what they're offering to others with good credit to cover that, and then it's going to most likely inspire those people to max out their cards further because it's a lower interest rate. The only thing that works is getting them forward of credit cards, but the traditional way is bankruptcy, and we don't want to do that. Well, we want to force them to get rid of their credit cards. It's just easier. It's just easier. They'll get forward of it all. Well, I guess you could just have them close the ones that you're financing or something. Maybe you could do it that way. But again, the idea is we want to stop it. We want to return to some normalcy. When they pay the loan off, then they can get 15 cards again. Again, there's so many ways out of that loan versus a bankruptcy. Once you do the bankruptcy, you pull the trigger, it's done. And then they go, oh, shit, I should never did this. This is like a pain in the derriere. I can't get up. And there's no inspiration to get up from it either, Well, I got to sit here for 7 years and da-da-da. So if there's a way for them to get their credit started again, there's probably a lot of motivation to pay the loan off. And then who knows? They join a contest, they get, $30,000, they pay it off. And then you don't lose anything. Again, it doesn't look good. I was looking at it like, what? I'm like the top 2% of the nation? I don't remember what it was, but it was something crazy. I may have been the top 5% of my age group, and I really don't have much money. I have a little bit of debt out there. which means there's that means big credit trouble. Well, the banks have been refinancing, so they knew there was something, and they offered something. But you have to break that chain and that addiction of first the banks of getting the fee, and then the people from keep charging things, right, and not paying it down, just letting it ride at 0%. Right. My push will be like in January. I think usually when I start really focusing on it and getting the thing down to 0. Right. I actually didn't realize that, but my one credit card just now, like next month, the promo APR is coming off of it. So I'm like thinking, I thought it was like gone for months now. So I was making sure it's down to 0 every month. I could actually use it a little bit more. It's actually a great rewards card. And I just stopped I use it for food and gas. There's no reason not to. Great for food and gas. So that's where we got to go. We have to force the closing of the credit card accounts and the debt consolidation at the same time. And with because we don't want them to debt consolidate and then go out and get another credit card or something. It's just we have to do it this way. There's just no other way to do it. Because they're going to end up without credit cards anyway. So might as well do it all in one, save everything. You don't have to refinance the banks. They don't have to have a really bad black mark on the record. All they're going to do is have this loan on there. As long as they have that loan, everybody sees it, it goes away, then they won't see it. Right? They pay it off, then the black mark comes off. Right. Well, if you're not careful, they'll just use that debt consolidation to get another credit card, and then they'll be back at square one. So if you make a special loan that requires the closing of the credit cards and a little so it's just so they don't bankruptcy, because that's what everybody's going to do if we don't do that. And there's some people that are going to have to again. Well, because it looks like you're gonna have to bail out the banks, and you have businesses closing. We got to do something. All right. Now, a lot of those bankrupting businesses are looking for buyers, and that may happen. So that's not like horrible. Somebody else takes it over, cuts here, cuts there. No, I don't think the Department of Government Efficiency actually has a clue about government, but well, again, like I understand where Vivek is with the unfunded funding or unauthorized funding, but you have to understand who you're affecting. You have to understand who you're affecting. You're affecting the people you say that Biden doesn't take care of. So you're talking about veterans health care. I'm like, like me, I don't need veterans health care, and I've never really used it. Although I've been pushed kind of in that direction at times. Why don't you use it over there? Why don't you use it? But I know people that use it. That's all they have. And actually, that was created for us, I think, Desert Storm, because the date was like 1996. So that's probably when it hit, when everybody's like, I'm on the street. I have no health care. So they quickly funded something. So again, it sounds good that you're going to cut, but can you really cut based upon what your promises are? So we need to teach Kristi Noem Spanish if she doesn't know it. That's her job, to speak to the undocumented people as the good cop. How would you say that? Mi está Kristi Noem? I don't know. I don't remember my Spanish anymore. Well, we have to have the good cop somewhere. Right. Well, we want assistance. We want assistance from undocumented people because they're out there in that world. Right? And if they give us assistance, then we offer that other program, the green card program. And of course, if they're victims of crime, we want to help them. There's a couple. There's one where you're an informant, another one where you're a victim. There's a whole bunch, and then, of course, then they assist us, and then we do that. So if we don't, then they'll just run away from us, and we won't find anything other than Homan's list. I'm going to deport you so fast. I'm going to deport you before you're born. I guess that would fit with what they say. How hater they are over it. No, she has to learn the language of the enemy. Yeah, it's just like with the, but you have to understand that how that works. Like, so if he has a tattoo that is attributable to white supremacy, it has to be attributable to white supremacy. You can't. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know how they're running the programs, but if somebody in the Catholic community is doing something that's tied to white supremacy or tied to radicalism, then it has to be investigated. Investigating somebody doesn't mean, I understand politics and you said a bunch of stuff to get elected, but we actually have to. That's how you save the Catholic Church, so it doesn't have doo-doo on it. The FBI comes in and says, "Oh, okay. Oh no, we have this cell over here, and if it could either be a real cell or just like a not a fake cell, but something that it's not real. It's just they picked up a lot of indicia of some sort of cell of radicalization. It's not to say people that are pro-life are radicalized, but we know going back, how many years is this? Like now 30 years, maybe 40, probably 30 years. Going back 30 years, we know within pro-life there are radicalized cells. So the idea that what's his name? I have to get off here soon. My battery's dying on my phone. But Hedge, whatever his name is, Hedgeth or something. I have to listen to it somewhere so I know how to say it. He that's like him. He has those words, but it could just mean that he's like a Knights Templar geek or something. He sits around in armor at night. Women out of here. So yeah, and I know I flash back to back to that time period, and there was tattoos. There's all sorts of stuff on the and then not in the news, online. People were all into it. I was a little later, I think about 2016 or 17. Maybe 2017. I picked up an interest, started listening to the music, bought a couple helmets. When I got injured, I gave away a lot of that stuff. I had a couple of Templar helmets. I wear a helmet, go, women in here. I want to talk to you. It makes me feel good. No, I believe there's an up from speaking to women, at least for heterosexual men. But if I were bisexual, I would actually have sex with animals. That doesn't work really. Who was the one that said that? Was you the one that said that? Oh no, that was that guru. There goes the family pet. So a lot of BS out there, a lot of confusion, and again, that's the idea. Getting forward all this, somebody's got to be bigger. Republican Party, you're on now. I think Kamala Harris would have been the bigger person, and buried the. I don't think Trump would have been prosecuted under Harris. I think she would have, or if he would have been prosecuted, she would have pardoned him. Biden might pardon him here in a little bit. Now Trump started it. Actually, no, Biden. I guess they say Biden did with that initial investigation. But Biden didn't tell him to cheat. That's the part you have to understand. Biden did not tell. What's that guy's name? Actually, he didn't cheat. It was Mueller. They pulled out of it. They did something wrong. That's right. What is his name? The guy testified in front of the House. I don't remember his name. I said it earlier. I don't forget names all the time, but I am out here walking. I can probably need some hydration. Let me get to it. Oh yeah, I'll get it in a second. They keep saying it keeps coming up Soperk. I know it sounds like it, but it's not Soperk. Soperk's a Sikh name. Well, here's one of them. Oh, he ended up working for the Russian. That's weird. Did they lead him into that? That's interesting. That needs to be an investigation. Who helped initiate Trump plead guilty to legal working for? Okay, so what happened there is that guy was set up. There's no doubt how they do it. Like right now, because I'm speaking on how to handle certain things, the spies will try to make me trans, try to make me hang out with trans. They do all this crazy stuff. So he was set up. I know I was against that agent a little bit, but I didn't know he was on Charles McGonigal, I guess. Right? He was set up. I don't remember the other guy. You know who he is. He knows who he is. We all know who he is. The funny face in the house. It's on the tip of my head, but I can't get to it. Trzak, that's it. Trzak. So again, he tried to get out of it. He did something wrong, and then he said, "Let me get out of here. I don't want to prosecute this thing." All right, something happened on my phone. Oh, I'm losing power. I'm gonna have to get off here. So he tried to get out of it. So the reality is that we need to stop it. All right. Well, stay